In the name of Allah, the Beneficent and Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who came to us in the person of Master Farad Muhammad and raised up the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who raised up the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I greet you again in greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum. I did a video. It was raw footage I put up of a meeting I attended in Terrell County on September 15th. It was a tax hearing. I called that video Witness a Tax Giveaway at Terrell County Tax Hearing. Now, people may have missed the significance of that information that was in that tax hearing. So I'm going to have to break it down to you. Then I'm going to allow you to look at it again. I'm going to post it right behind here, connect it together, because it's very significant as to how the county commissioners basically gave away millions of dollars in tax revenue they could have gotten. They run after the poor people to get their land. In other words, when they can't pay their property taxes, they foreclose on them to get their land. However, when somebody who really is bringing in some real money, some real assets into the county, they don't tax them at the same rate. They basically give it away. And there's no benefit to the county at all. Now, let me show you what I'm talking about. There's a 1,000-acre solar farm going up in Terrell County. I did the research on solar farms, and on average, about $500,000 per acre, the equipment. Therefore, 1,000 acres is $500 million. Now, let me put that in context. The total value of real property in Terrell County that they tax is $346 million. That's in 2020. $346 million for the whole county. Now, this one solar farm is now worth $500 million. Okay, but that's not what they taxed them on. Instead, they did a memorandum of understanding, and they only taxed them on $30 million. So they dropped from $500 million to $30 million. Now, at the tax rate of 1.169%, that's $350,700 in tax revenue per year. However, $500 million would have been $5,845,000. Now let's put that in context. The roads are messed up in Terrell County. It's got 108 dirt roads. We live on one of them. Well, actually, two roads. One from one side, one to the other, goes to our farm. And it's 2.5 miles on one, 3 miles on the other, and they're all messed up. It's estimated that it takes about $2 million per mile to put asphalt on a road. So at $5,845,000 of taxes that could have been derived from this solar farm that's worth $500 million, they could have paved 2.9 miles. 2.9 miles they could have paved if they would get that $5,845,000 in taxes. But no, instead they got $350,700 in taxes. That's what they're going to get, and that's only going to do about 2/10 of a mile. So here they could have done 2.9 miles. Instead, they're only going to can only do about 2/10 of a mile if they decide to with that tax money. Now let's put that in terms of jobs. Other than the roads, the most important thing in Terrell County is the lack of employment. So we need jobs in Terrell County. Well, just look at what that tax money could do. Right now, local government in the Terrell County, there's 496 employees, which is about 15% of the total employed people, about 3,333. So that's 15%. The yearly wage average for the local government employees is $28,548. Now, the tax on the $30 million that they're going to allow these people to get away with $30 million they're gonna pay $350,000 per year, which will provide 12 jobs. However, $5,845,000 per year will provide 204 jobs. In other words, there's 496 government jobs in Terrell County now. Another 204 is almost double what is half of what the total amount is now. So now you'd have 700 workers. Now, what would that mean? Another 204 jobs in little Terrell County. They'll pay a whole lot of house notes, car notes, people going to school, college, food, clothing. So it would have economic development stimulus to Terrell County. And they're putting up 3 of these farms in Terrell County. This is just one of them that they're talking about at this particular day. So now I want you to listen very carefully now to this boring, raw, shaky video of how I approached them and what they said about how they gave away all this tax base. So they give away this tax base, and yet they come at my race to take their property so they can get richer and bigger, and then talk about us and put us in jail for selling drugs and stealing because they don't have no jobs for the black people. Yet they allow this company to come in and pull wool over their eyes. A company who's bringing in $500 million of equipment. They let them only charge them for $30 million of that $500 million. Let them get away with $470 million devaluation. So instead of $5,845,000, they only going to pay $350,000. So they walked off with $5 million per year. They're walking off with, but it could have been put for the investment in the development of Terrell County. Assalamu alaikum, family. It was $341,795,000 for 2020. It's $346,597,000. Now I noticed that a number of farms are putting up solar panels. And my understanding is those panels are worth $500,000 per acre. So a 1,000-acre solar farm is now worth $500 million. So when is that going to be put in as real estate or real and personal property? Is that a rate?
Well, I don't think it's going to go in at that rate because that's not what, I forgot the exact amount on that farm in Brahma, but it's much lower than that as far as the total amount of the value that's being put in on the farm. Do you know what that figure is, Kavina Banton?
I do not. Ms. Darlene, do you know?
Yeah, the land itself is in at $6,000 an acre.
Right.
But the farm itself, the panels are under that memorandum of understanding, so they're not going to pay that total amount.
I know that.
But I don't have a figure because they were not complete. And until they're complete, you don't put them on.
I mean, I think that's going to come in under next year's.
It will come in under next year.
It will come in under next year. The memorandum of understanding, when we agreed for the solar panels, once they complete the solar panels and they're up and running, is when the tax begins to levy on all the personal equipment that's been put on the farm. And there's been an agreement that's already been voted on as to what that tax rate will be, but it's partially based upon the total amount of money they spend for all those solar panels, and the amount that they spend is substantially less than what they initially said they were going to spend. It's going to be less than what they initially said, but it won't come in until next year.
But how much is that? I said $500,000. I said that because I studied the other panels, other systems going in the other counties.
Right.
And on average, they say it's worth $500,000 per acre. Plus, I want to put stuff over on our farm. I had to study it.
And,
Right.
it's $500,000 an acre.
I don't know the figure again. Do you remember what it was, Brett? I know we got, I wanted to say, wasn't it?
I think it was $60 million.
Right.
How much?
That's 60 million.
$60 million?
Right.
That's substantially lower. So are they gonna be taxed as a farm or as now in an industry?
And industry.
An industry?
They did get a tax break,
What was that break?
about 50%,
So they go do 50% of 60 million?
something in that range, yes.
Well, I
That's a
think,
table on it, yes.
okay, well, I think that, we've been lowballed, because that's not the value that those panels, because I tried to put it up on my farm, and, we couldn't afford it, of course, but, it was $500,000 per acre. So, I think that we need to recheck that, because we don't want to get took by these big corporations coming in here and not paying their taxes, considering the problem that we've had collecting taxes from the poor people. We should definitely collect taxes from these corporations that's coming in here, putting up this money to make a lot of money off of this county. We should get that tax money, because we can fix these roads.
I share your concern on that. I mean, we had the votes on it. I mean, it's already been voted on, quite frankly. I was not in agreement with the tax break we gave, but it was what the commission voted. It's already been voted on through a normal meeting and the process of hearings, and it's already been agreed upon on that particular solar farm to give the tax break that's been given. That's what's in place.
What's the reasoning for giving them a tax break?
For them to agree that they would come and put it out there.
So in other words, we gave it away, so they'd come and do it.
We gave some break, we didn't give it away, but we gave some break. Now, I mean, again, my feeling was, I don't give a break to someone else, I wasn't really wanting to, but the commission still as a whole voted, not my vote, but the total vote was to give a break, and there's a schedule that gives it. It's not uncommon, almost every solar farm in every county in the state has given some type tax break in order to get the people to come. In other words, they don't tax them at 100% of the value. And that was what was agreed upon here. And so you're gonna get about half of what would have been the tax value if you taxed them totally at what the value was. Now, saying that, they indicate they would not come if that were the case. They were not gonna put the solar farm out there, so.
Well, my problem is, once you take 1,000 acres out of farming, when that solar farm is up, there's only one person that's gonna have to run it. There'll be no more jobs on that 1,000 acres. Whereas they could have provided jobs for 2, 3, 4 people and 5 or 6 doing peanut seed. But now it's been taken out of production.
This wasn't taken out of production, this was a woodland that had been cut over, so nobody was working there. But I agree with you, it's not producing any jobs.
Not producing no jobs.
Well.
And so we should get the money from the taxes if it ain't producing no jobs, because we got problems with these roads. And we need money. And these people coming in here, tearing up the road. I saw what they did, tearing up the roads with all that equipment they brought in here. Tearing up the roads and we don't get no benefit? I don't understand that.
Any other comments? Anything else about tax ideas? All right, if not,